So I guess this really started with me sort of seeing running previews of Visual Studio and sort of looking at the preview notes and thinking, well, actually, it might make sense for me to actually go and try some of these out myself rather than just sort of reading them and then potentially ignoring them. And then I thought, well, maybe other people might find that interesting too. So I've got Visual Studio Preview installed here, just to prove it's preview, and it's the 16.6 preview 3. I wasted a bit of time last night on my laptop trying to try out a few of these things just to make sure that they worked, and they weren't working. And when I discovered I actually had an older preview installed. If you haven't installed a preview before, quickly mention that. So like you might, if you run up the installer by default, then that'll just install the regular version, but you can install the preview as well. And you basically go to the website and download preview. And once you do that, then the installer will then list the preview product as well. So if you haven't installed the preview before, you might just have Visual Studio there, and you might have installed a second instance or something, but then the preview will appear here as well. Likewise, you might have older versions of VS like 2017. So yeah, and so they'll run side by side and they pretty much don't interfere with each other. So you can have the preview installed, you can update the preview, update the release version, and that works pretty nicely. So anyway, so this is the preview version 2016, and I thought, well, let's go through some of those release notes. I'm just going to push that off to the side here and try out a few things. So we've had 3 previews thus far, and I'm just going to focus on the more .NET, C#y kind of features. There's other things in there as well around C++ and other tooling. That's not as exciting for me. So, but feel free, if that's what you're interested in, feel free to have a look at that. One of the new features is new Git menu, and so they're adding some. There's a rebuilding the Git tooling in Visual Studio, and so I happen to have a Git repo here. I'm just going to copy this off screen and let's pick a directory to clone. So I'm just going to clone that direct from Visual Studio, and hopefully that doesn't take too long. So sort of doing some work at the bottom there, letting me know what's going on. And I just tried this out a bit earlier, and it's not too bad in that it actually realizes there's a solution in there, and it's able to load that. Now, I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but my fan's just spun up because it's Visual Studio is doing a bit of work restoring packages. This shouldn't take too long because I did do this earlier today, so most of the packages should be cached. But basically, we've just pulled out a project from GitHub, and we can open up some code there as well. So there's other things we can do with Git. We can view history from here. I can say, actually, I want to see remote stuff as well. I can do a pull from here if I wanted to. Not that I've got anything, well, we're all up to date. So, yeah, I can see what other remotes I've got configured. So at the moment, I've just got that. So I might want to say, actually, well, this is actually a fork from the original repo. So I want to add that in there and call it upstream. And that's kind of nice. So yeah, it's sort of rebuilding the Git integration there. I don't know. Personally, I tend to do most of my Git from the command line, but for people who like to use the IDE, that's kind of nice. Okay, there's some other stuff that was mentioned here in the release notes around XAML hot reloading, and I'm pretty sure that this command line library doesn't have XAML in it. So let's jump over and create a new project and see what that's about. If and .NET Framework app, I believe that'll work. If I'm doing anything that somebody knows is wrong, then feel free to jump in and tell me. Yeah, that looks good. So, got an application here. I'm going to hit F5 and there's my application, and I've got hot reload available, which should mean now my XAML's a bit rusty. Oh, just move this off to the side there. I don't know, text block. How's that? There we go. So it's updated that. If I push that down there. You can see it's updating it live. So one of the new features, so they've made some efficiencies there. So under tools, options, XAML, and that was in, I think it's something to do with Xamarin stuff. But one of the new features is, and I presume this works for the framework stuff, is you can change it so that it only does an update when you save. I think that's under the tools options preview. I need to turn some things on. So there's a preview features tab, and right, so I need to turn that on. I've got my Git one already turned on, and okay, I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to close this down. Yes, I do. Sure. Start it up again. Should be pretty quick. Okay, so I guess that's the new designer there too. All right. Okay, so the other feature I wanted to show off with this was that, yeah, you might not want to see it live. You might only want to see the changes when you save stuff. So I'm just looking at the actually reading instructions here. If I go to debug and options, sorry, probably the same way. Debug, options, and general, and enable UI debugging for XAML, and apply. There we go. So turn that one on. And so now when I'm debugging, I'll put that down there, and I shouldn't see that change until I hit save. I'm going to hit, so I'll do it up here so you can see it. There we go. So that could be useful if you don't want to see a whole lot of stuff changing. So yeah, and yeah, so this is the new Designer, the one that they sort of rebuilt for .NET Core. So that, and this is a framework app as well. So that's nice to see work being done on that. Okay, I'm going to jump back to my other project there. Skipping through. So I'd be interested to know in the comments, do people use WPF? Do they use the designer? Is that kind of stuff interesting? I'm not sure what Visual Studio is doing there. If I get that to do that again, I might submit that as a feedback item. So just to remind everybody, if you have a problem in Visual Studio, use the report a problem. All right. Yeah, what else have we got to have a look at? So we've looked at Git stuff. We've got some new code fixes and refactoring things. So sometimes you might have a standard copyright blurb that you put at the top of your file. So this one's got one of those. But they've added a new feature to, where's it gone? Editor config, so that you can standardize that and use a code fix to apply that to your file. So I'm going to jump down. Actually, I thought there was. It's not in the project. Okay. Let's bring up Explorer. So I had a feeling that. Yeah, so there is a file, it's just not the solution. I'll just open that in code. Actually, there we go. All right, so if I go down the bottom here, and I'm just going to copy this. Actually, I want to put it in a more general section. So probably here will be good. It's called file header. And then you just put some text. So copy. And if you want multiple lines, you can do like that. So hit save on that, and let's reopen a file. What I'm expecting is a little light bulb. There we go. And add file banner, and you'll see that it's actually going to change it over to the new improved copyright header. And in fact, if I wanted to change everything in the file, in the whole project, I could do that too by fixing all occurrences in solution. I won't do that. So that's kind of useful if you want consistent file headers. Also, they've added some stuff. I need to find an example here. So the XML help. Not the resx. Probably want to search C# files. This is the new. Yeah, I want that one. Whoop. Oh, didn't that? Oh, okay. I want star.cs. There we go. I'll get there eventually. Okay, so they've improved the tooltips you get. So I should see the value bit there. What I mean is, if I use zoom it, this bit has been added. So if you have that, or a return statement is another one. Let's see if I can find an example of that. Here we go. So the returns text is up here in the XML help. If I hover over that method, I'm getting that returns there, which I believe is new, which is kind of nice. So yes, obviously I'm in this method. I wouldn't need to refer to that here, but when I'm using that method elsewhere, so let's find one of those. And if I hover over that, then I see that tooltip text there, which is kind of nice. Okay. While we're here, we've got a string there, and actually, that's probably not a good example. Let's just make one up. So if I had some text, then okay, maybe I want to do something like this. And let's make it. Okay. I think. All right, so I can turn that to an interpolated string. I don't think that's new. Let's do that, and then, oh, that's kind of weird. What I want to show is you can turn it into a verbatim string. Maybe. It's not working for me there. Why is that not? That should be prompting me to turn it into a verbatim string. Don't know why it's not. Anyway, moving on. And we should be able to switch back to a string literal from that. Don't know why. Yeah, really doesn't want to do it. Similarly, if we had I'll just type this in. An expression that looks simplify conditional expressions. So what's a good example of that? Environment dot is and okay, here we go. So it realizes that's actually kind of dumb, and we can collapse it down to that. That's kind of nice. Likewise, if we have an object A equals, oops, string, and then we're going to assign that. If I can type S equals A, so we're getting a squiggle saying that's actually the wrong type, but it's saying there is a conversion. So we've now got a fix for that. So we can put the cast in, which is nice if you need to be doing that. And scrolling through other release notes. Yeah, this could be risky. There's also an addition for Microsoft Fakes. So I don't know, I remember using Fakes ages ago. I don't know if many people use fakes or not. And I have a funny feeling it does actually call out in the release notes that this may not appear here. And I think we looked here before in the preview features that there wasn't anything about fakes here. I think that's just a bug. If I close Visual Studio down and I need to set this on the command line. There's my command line. And this is like an environment variable. Then I launch Visual Studio. Supposedly, oh, hang on, that's not the preview, sorry. I was going to grab the path. Here we go. Oop, and we're in PowerShell. There we go. Let's create a new project. .NET Core. So Fakes didn't previously support .NET Core. So I'll create my new project. Now I have to see whether I can remember how Fakes even works. Let's new. I actually don't remember how Fakes works. Anyone else remember how Fakes works? Feel free to jump in. Maybe I need a test project. Add a test project. I'm not seeing fake anywhere, but I might be doing it wrong. Yeah, so I have got enterprise version. Let me just confirm that, enterprise. Fake, there's nothing there, is there? Nope. Yeah, so I think I did, I'm not sure if I said this was unscripted, but yeah. Anyway, supposedly that works. I'd be interested to know if anyone is using fakes and wanted to use that for a .NET Core kind of project. Don't know. David, you got any ideas? No, it's probably not your area anyway. That's okay. Yeah, so there's some nice features there coming through. I'll just check that I've covered everything I wanted to. Some of those new sort of code fixes are kind of nice. File headers, Git. Yeah, so I'd be interested to know what other people think of the Git menu, whether you feel like that's useful. So there was interesting. So one thing I noticed when I was using this is it was using a different default location to what I thought it was, which was I was thinking it would be using that one. So I've just learned something there. And some other options there if you want to choose different things. Yeah, anyway, that's probably, it's coming up to 1 o'clock. Yeah, be interested to know if anyone else wants to unmute any comments if they're using the preview or thinking about using the preview, any of those features are useful or to them or not. Feel free to join in. Otherwise, I will leave a comment in the chat. Yeah, but yeah, fakes I've sort of been aware of those for quite a while because I think they go way back to some work that came out of Microsoft Research, if I understand correctly, around testing stuff. And in fact, I think one of the guys that was originally involved with that before he joined Microsoft was involved with one of the test frameworks that used to be popular called MBUnit. So yeah, but yes, I think they are an enterprise feature as far as I know. So possibly not as well known or well used because of that. Cool. Well, 1 o'clock. Thanks for joining, everybody. I don't know if you found that useful or not. Hopefully you did. If you thought it was good, then be good to get some feedback. Just to let you know that our next regular meeting, evening time, is going to be Jason Bock and talking about using the compiler API. So that sounds like that's going to be a bit of a diving deep kind of talk. So I'm looking forward to that. Jason will be getting up at 4 a.m. because he's based in the US to present to us. So I did confirm he knew what time he was going to get up, and he said, yeah, I knew what I was getting in for. So looking forward to having Jason with us in a few weeks' time. But thanks everyone for coming. Feel free to hang around a bit more if you've got any comments, but otherwise, hope this was a nice way to spend your lunchtime and hope everyone's keeping safe. We'll catch you around.